Hey friends, and welcome back to this Fretted Friday, and in today's show we're going to cover a little bit of a sad tale of MACARIS moving out of London after 60 years, and also one of my trips up to Denmark Street with my buddy Rick Beato, coming right up. Again, this Fretted Friday, we're going to be using the chapters feature on YouTube so that you can jump around in this video as much as you like. Because before we get into our main theme today, I would just like to touch on a couple of other things. Firstly, a huge thank you to everybody who's kindly supported and been sending in ideas, and not only ideas, but videos for me to cover on my live streams. It's really encouraging me, and I will be doing a live stream just as soon as I can using only your ideas. So if you have any ideas, don't forget to send them to me. You can email me videos, or you can just email me to let me know of an idea that you'd like me to cover. And as always, I'll do my very best to cover it. Second up today, I want to talk about an article that came out in the Wall Street Journal relating to Gibson guitars and the fact that they have lost, when they moved about 40 years ago, they lost one of their ledgers, which details all of the people who bought their guitars between a period and a period. And can you guess which period it was? Yep, you guessed it, from about 1958 to 1960. And of course, that is the golden era of the burst Les Paul, the 59 burst, the iconic thing. Now, apparently there are only 643 of them made, so I slightly misquoted that when I quoted that there were only 1,500 made and that only 2,000 survive. In one of my previous videos, it is a standard burst joke. And they would really like to get that ledger back so that they can see who those guitars were sold to and where they went. Now, funny enough, they have put out a reward of 59,000 US dollars. I think that's quite cute, really, 59 being the 59 burst. And I've seen a lot of comments on the forums saying that that's a bit of a joke because the ledger itself would be worth probably about $250,000 given the information that it holds. I'd be really interested to know if you know where that ledger is, because I think you could make yourself a small fortune if you do. And also, what do you guys think about Gibson offering 59,000 US dollars for the return, the safe return of that ledger? Okay, and now on to our main feature today. I've been to Denmark Street so many times in my life, I've lost count of how many times I've been there, and it is the legendary birthplace of so many of our musical heroes, both from the 60s and even earlier. Last year I arranged to meet up with my buddy Rick Beato while he was over from the States, and we were going to have a little look around Denmark Street. So we met up in a lovely little restaurant, and before we knew it we had 3 or 4 others with us, and we went to tour around Denmark Street, the London's Tin Pan Alley. We started in 60 Sounds Music, and it's a really modern fitted out shop, and they've got lots of vintage guitars though. And the guys in there were really friendly, but while we were in there, there was an absolutely incredible thing that happened, because in walks a guy who I immediately recognise as my long lost buddy Armand Serra from the band Panama, which I've often spoken to you about on this channel. I used to follow them all over London and their gigs in the 80s. They were a really good rock band. And I recognised him and I went up and said, "Is it you, Armand?" And he was like, "Wow." And we really reminisced over what we'd done. And then Armand gave us a tour around the rest of Tin Pan Alley, because he is an absolute expert on the area and on guitar in general. We went from 60 Sounds to Regent Sound, where we were all really amazed at this sort of telly Strat guitar that also had a bit of precision bass type feel about it. Middle position. Yeah.
That's the front pickup. This
is
it? The second. That's the middle position.
Nice.
Very good.
it's a cross between a telly and a Strat and yeah, really beautiful guitar.
This is just beautiful. I need to trim it down.
Awesome. So you're not buying this one, man?
Not today.
And Rick also surprised one of his fans from America. What were the odds on that? Meeting up with an American fan all the way over here in the UK. So that was a moment for you there, a moment. What's your name, man?
My name's Josh.
Josh, nice.
From Boston.
From Boston. And was it a nice surprise to suddenly have Rick Beato tap you on the shoulder while you're playing, yeah? A bit sick, eh?
You know the album covers by Pink Floyd and Zeppelin, Hypnosis? Mm-hmm. That's what it used to be. On the first floor, that's where Hypnosis used to be. All the album covers, take the room upstairs.
That's so weird.
And then the Stones went up there, Floyd went up there, everybody walked up there, just have a look. Take the photos, everybody, Zeppelin.
We then went into No Tom Guitars, which is a new one on me actually. I haven't been there before.
This is a shop that used to be called Vintage and Rare.
Okay.
And I bought a lot of stuff from them.
Let's go on here.
Yeah, there's another stuff.
And it was really interesting because our man took us through the shop and showed us at the back the place where the Sex Pistols used to rehearse, and also the flat above where they all used to live in one room.
Oh wow.
There was the pistol rehearsal room.
Pistols, Sex Pistols rehearsal room.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they live upstairs in one room. That's all there is.
So is all this stuff going to be opened back up then?
This got a preservation order as far as I know. So
Okay.
they're digging everywhere, but they're going to keep most of it. All the walls are graffiti with the pistol stuff.
Yeah.
I got photos of it.
Okay.
I think those two rooms are going to remain in the middle of whatever's built around.
Wow, that's great.
So if you see pictures of the guys slouching along on the floor in the early days, that's what they did. They rehearsed in there.
It was then that we made our way to MACARIS in Charing Cross Road. And it was today's news that reminded me of this little trip to London and why I should make a video for you guys about it. This morning I was flipping through Instagram looking at some of the posts, and a video came up with Anthony Macari in it, and I thought, oh, this would be interesting. And it had an awful lot of views and a lot of thumbs up and likes and comments. So I was watching it, and he was giving us a really amazing tour of all of the places that MACARIS have had a shop. And then he got to Charing Cross Road and got rather upset, talking about his uncle starting it all by working at Jennings Musical Instruments. And I've just thought, this is very strange, he's got so upset. And it turned out the reason being is that after 60 years, MACARIS are closing their doors in London and are going to move to Haywards Heath.
And here's MACARIS that we know and love. And the big news is that we're closing.
I really feel for MACARIS because clearly they have got into a position where they can no longer afford to be in London, and it makes me wonder how many more of our iconic brands and shops may lose from this current health crisis and pandemic. It's a real shame, and MACARIS have certainly been a victim of that. When we went into MACARIS, Rick Beato immediately bought one of their Colortone Fuzz pedals, and even without trying it, we did persuade him to let us have a little bit of a jam on it though first.
Yeah, really good. You're welcome to try it if you want. You want it? Oh no, I'll just take it. Yeah. Nice. You sure? Yeah. Why not? Cool. All right. Cool.
While we were there, Aunt Macari actually came up to speak to us. Now, I think that was probably more to do with Rick Beato than anybody else, but it just shows the calibre of the guy and also the personal service from Macari's. It's still run by a Macari, and Anthony still came up to see us and talk to us about the amazing artwork on the Colorsound pedals. In fact, all of their range of pedals.
But you were just talking about the Colorsound pedals and how you like the sound of them and stuff. So I think you can't find them in the States. I mean, I can't find them anywhere.
You shouldn't be able to. We're the only shop in the world that sells them. You know, we.
I found one. I found a used one actually. And I bought it immediately.
All right.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I want that.
Well, you know, 95% of what we make goes to America. So that's where our fan base is, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, it's, I don't know, we seem to be very, very well appreciated. So it's kind of nice. But yeah, we saw, you know, our whole concept of making pedals. We don't even think about the price before we make it. We just try and make the best damn pedal we can. And that's all we want to do.
That's beautiful.
Oh, that's
too.
cool.
Not only does it sound great, but come on, look at that. The
Well,
color,
do you know
you
what
want
it
to
is?
play it.
Well, you probably don't know. So the guy who does all our graphics, he's still, you know, he's 75 years old now. He's the same guy who designed the very first ones.
Oh!
And he drew Spider-Man in the UK. So he worked for Marvel UK.
I was going to.
Wow.
I was going to say that you can see that here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is cool.
That's so cool.
See, it becomes clear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got that real comic.
New acquisition.
Yeah. But that's it. So, and this is obviously
there we go.
Superman colours.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got that kind of poo.
Is that why I like it?
Yeah.
That's why I like it, right?
Pizzazz.
What?
Look.
No, but it really just looks like it looks like the 60s.
Yeah, it does.
It's not heavy at all.
Yeah. Well, we've never used anyone else to design one of our pedals. You know, he's done every single one. So, and you know, long may it continue.
So yeah, absolutely amazing that the artist that did the original Spider-Man comics in the UK is still in his 70s responsible for all of the artwork on those wonderful pedals. It's fair enough to say that stores come and go in London, and they do. In fact, we mentioned Jennings Musical Instruments earlier, who of course were originally Vox, or maybe the other way around. I'll have to look back on my history of the Vox AC30 video. Go and check that out if you haven't in a while, because it is a good video. I really enjoyed making that, and I think you'll enjoy watching it. I'll put a link somewhere up here. So yeah, it's true. One of the bonuses though of Macari's leaving London is that they are moving down here to Sussex and to Haywards Heath.
Well, it's not all bad. It's not all bad. We're going to open a little shop down in Sussex. We're going to run Solar Sound. We're still going to make the best fuzz pedals in the world. And we hope if you're around or you're from overseas and you want to come and visit England, you'll make the trip down. It's really easy to get out of London and come and see us.
And they're literally going to be almost a stone's throw from me. So I'm going to make sure that when they do come down, I will cover it in a video of their new store and the location, because it's literally right next door to where I am putting on with Lewis Trower from LT Custom Guitars, the British Boutique Guitar Festival. So what an ideal location, not only for them, but for us as well. Macari's wasn't the end of our lovely day out in London, and in fact we went back with Armand Serra to his own shop. Now he has for years and years and years developed and made the most exquisite silver jewellery, or all sorts of jewellery, among many other iconic rock and roll jewellery and things like that. In fact, I think he's made stuff for Lemmy, all sorts of people. You really need to check out Crazy Pig Designs. And Armand, with his absolute exquisite knowledge of the guitar and the history of guitar, really impressed Rick with his book, The Guitar EXP, which is a 2-volume guitar book, which I highly recommend that you check out. It literally covers all of Armand's collection. And at some stage in the future, I'm hoping to do some videos with Armand to show you some of these iconic guitars. So there you go, that was my day out in Denmark Street and my little tribute to Macari's on their leaving London. And I think that the future will be bright for them because of the great tradition and great family approach to them and the way that they do their business. And I really wish them the best of luck coming down here to Haywards Heath. I'm sure you'll join me in that sentiment, and if you do, leave a comment down below saying something nice for Macaris, and I will send them a copy of this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and a like. And as always, it really can't hurt to subscribe. And if you do, don't forget to click that bell icon, and then you'll be notified every time I upload, which I do frequently. I'll be back really soon with another one with the best content I can. But in the meantime, as always, my friends, you take good care.